Today's video is sponsored by Nobility.co.uk, the leading company in selling legal titles in the United Kingdom. Get a 10% discount in any purchase by mentioning Death Row. Reports of police violence have been on the rise, although this does not necessarily mean that violence is increasing. It does, however, mean that the media is more willing to report violence and that more incidents of violence are appearing on social media. What we can now study is the nature of that violence. Some are big events such as riots or attacks against the police, but there are also smaller events. For example, we see reports of passengers on trains who get into arguments with transit police. They may fight because one of the passengers is not in the right seat or is carrying something prohibited. Rather than complying with the officer, the passenger ends up getting into some sort of violent altercation. This kind of violence is typically being captured by cell phone cameras, and sometimes it makes the news. Regarding what this means for China, it's not good for the regime to sustain this kind of conflict between street-level officers or state agents and the public. It lowers people's trust in the agents of the government, and people may assume that the police cannot enforce public security. There are many state agents who might be involved in a conflict, such as the Chengguan, the Zijing, or the official police. The type of agent almost doesn't matter because the uniforms often look similar. When information goes up online of state agents behaving poorly, it makes the state a little more vulnerable. Even people who are not at the event might see it on social media or in the news and think, "Oh, this is happening in my community, or in my province, or across the nation." This violates public expectations about how the police or other state agents should act. People should be able to trust the police and go to them when they have problems. A police brutality that turned violent was the case of Yang Jie. Born the 27th of August 1980, in Beijing, China. Yang Jie, he was a loner. He had no friends. Anytime he was seen, he was alone. For most of his life, Yang Jie could not keep a job, making him jobless most of his time. His mother, Wang Jingmai, who raised Yang as a single parent, she struggled financially during this time to bring her kids up. Yang, a jobless 28-year-old Beijing resident described as a loner, was reported to have been arrested and interrogated by the Shanghai police in October 2007 for riding an unlicensed bicycle. According to his later testimony in court, he was insulted during the interrogation and bitten after being brought back to the station, leaving bruises on his arms and back. He then sued the police for maltreatment, to no avail. The chain of events began when Yang was questioned by a patrol officer in Jibai district on October 15, 2007 as he was riding an unlicensed bicycle in an area where several thefts had occurred. When asked to show his ID card and provide information about the bike, Yang refused to cooperate. He was taken to the police station and released only after the officers were able to confirm he had rented the bike. Complaining of wrongful treatment, Yang sought 10,000 yuan, which is $1,465, in compensation from the police for causing him mental anguish. When his demands were not met, he decided to take revenge. He appeared to snap after police rejected his repeated demands for 10,000 yuan, $460, in compensation for psychological damage he told the court he suffered after police beat him during his overnight detention in October 2007. Police denied any beating took place. Around 9:40 a.m. on July 1st, Yang carried gasoline bottles, a knife, a pair of gloves, tear gas spray and a gas mask into the police station. He set the gasoline ablaze and stabbed security guard Gu Jianming when he tried to stop him. Yang then attacked 4 unarmed police officers in the lobby and in a duty room on the first floor, according to police testimony. He then rushed up the stairs and stabbed 5 other officers on the 9th, 10th, 11th and 21st floors. 6 police officers suffered injuries to their lungs, livers and necks and died from massive hemorrhaging. Yang began his attack on the police station where he was held by igniting petrol bombs at the gates, before forcing his way in. He stabbed 9 police officers and a security guard, and made it to the 21st floor of the district police headquarters before he was overpowered and arrested, according to state media reports. The court said revenge seemed to be the motive behind Yang's killing frenzy. Yang earlier said he was bitten by police. But Shanghai police denied the accusation, and the court said it could find no evidence to support the claim. Yang was defended by Xie Yuming and Xie Jin of Shanghai Mingjiang law firm. They said Yang wanted to take revenge on Officer Wei Yu, who was in charge of dealing with his complaint. When Yang was stopped by other police officers, he stabbed them with a knife. The lawyers argued that Yang hadn't intended to kill the officers, so he should be charged with assault instead of murder. Wu was only slightly injured in the attack. The lawyers also said Yang may have psychological problems and appealed for another appraisal of his mental condition. As psychology experts had already pronounced Yang mentally sound, the court rejected that request. He was convicted in September of going on a stabbing frenzy in a Shanghai police station on July 1st in revenge for apparently being wrongfully detained on suspicion of stealing a bicycle. He lost an appeal against the sentence after judicial proceedings that his supporters said were flawed, complaints that were repeated on. Yang initially benefited from unusually sympathetic coverage in the state-controlled Chinese press. The Beijing News pointed out that Yang's appointed lawyer, Xie Yuming, might have had a conflict of interest as he is also a legal advisor for the city district that oversees the police station at issue. Southern Weekend published a long, sympathetic front-page story, while other Chinese papers hinted that Yang was wronged and demanded a fair trial. In the week leading up to the trial, though, the Shanghai media fell silent on the case, and Chinese authorities increased efforts to censor Chinese internet coverage on the subject. While there was initial public anger at the killings, Western media noted that discourse on Chinese internet forums and blogs soon became largely sympathetic to Yang, with many expressing suspicions that Yang might not receive a fair trial and that the police might want to cover up wrongdoings of their own. The Daily Telegraph quoted one Chinese blogger as praising Yang's strong sense of the law and another comparing him to Wu Song, a hero in Chinese literature. A message left on Yang's MySpace account was reported to have read, "You have done what most people want to do, but do not have enough courage to do." On the 13th of October 2008, a public protest in support of Yang occurred outside the Shanghai court in which Yang's appeal was heard. According to Agence France Presse, about a dozen protesters wearing T-shirts with Yang's face showed up and were arrested by police. On the 21st of November 2008, the Supreme People's Court of China confirmed the death verdict. Yang was executed by shooting on the 26th of November 2008. After his execution, internet tributes to Yang continued to be posted in China. Agence France Presse reported that very few internet users expressed the opinion that Yang deserved his fate, reproducing the following contribution by a Chinese forum user as typical of many: "When you hold a knife up to the police, it's doomed to end this way. But Chinese history will remember Yang Jia's name forever." Thank you for watching Death Row.